Great. Welcome, everybody. Tonight is Tuesday, July 27th. It's about 7:37 p.m. This is the Planning and Zoning Commission. Tonight we have a general meeting and a public hearing to start. We're holding this meeting in Jeremy Ginsberg, the Planning and Zoning Director, myself, are here in Town Hall in room 213. And it's also being held virtually via GoToMeeting as per the governor's resolutions. I think it's back governor's orders. So let's get right started. Tonight is a public hearing. To start with, the first item on the agenda is a special permit application number 34K as in Karen, site plan, land filling and regrading application number 510, Woodway Country Club, 540 Hoyt Street. It's a proposal to construct terraces and decks adjacent to the clubhouse building and to perform related site development activities. The 135 plus minus acres subject property is located on the west side of Hoyt Street, approximately 1,700 feet south of its intersection with Talmadge Hill Road, and is shown on Assessor's Map number 3 as lot 137 in the R2 zone. Jeremy, what do we got?
Sure. This is an application to add on to the back of the Woodway Country Club clubhouse with no change in hours or activities or membership of the club or anything like that. Basically, what they're doing is creating new terraces and outdoor eating areas for their members, larger outdoor areas to sit, to watch golfers, to eat, to grab food. That's really the design of this project. So they're building, in association with that, some terraces, walkways, stairways, but basically it's all in the back. So you can't see it from Hoyt Street. I don't think you'd be able to see this from any other property in the town of Darien. The Architecture Review Board looked at the improvements and they issued a letter dated July 22nd. The commission members have that in their packets. Darren Ostafine from Public Works issued a memo dated July 21st. Brian McMahon sent a response earlier today, which was emailed to commission members, posted to the website. As I said, there's no change in membership or hours of the club or any activities of the club. It's simply more outdoor dining during whatever outdoor dining hours they've had in the past. Again, it's at the back of the building, facing the golf course, not near any houses on Hoyt Street. I will note that EPC review will be needed for a very minor portion of the work that gets close to the Noroton River. No work is proposed in the flood zone, but Mr. McMahon and the Woodway team is likely to get on the EPC agenda next week. So we can, if all goes well, close the hearing tonight and accept the EPC report once the hearing is closed. So we're here, going to hear tonight from Brian McMahon of Redness and Mead, as well as Steve McVeigh, the general manager of Woodway Country Club.
I just ask a technical question. It says in the notice, it says deck.
Yes.
Terraces and decks. A
Yes.
deck is usually made out of wood, right? So is this a patio? It's not a deck?
Mr. McMahon can kind of go through. Some are above grade seating
Right.
areas. They're going to do a minor addition to the clubhouse building,
Okay, I
which
saw
will
that.
help blend in. So it's a small addition to the building, but there's terraces, walkways, paths.
Okay.
Basically, it's small
That's what I
addition to the clubhouse and some outdoor dining areas.
Got it. Okay. Brian McMahon, I saw you. There he is. Hey, Brian, I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome. Welcome to Planning and Zoning Commission.
Thank you. Thank you,
Sure,
Mr. Chairman. For the record, Brian McMahon, licensed professional engineer with Redness and Mead on behalf of the Woodway Country Club. And I think what I'd like to do is to start to speak to your question, Mr. Chairman, about the decks and patio, turn it over to the project architect, Chris McCagg of Rogers McCagg Architect, and I'll follow up. He'll describe the project in general and get to your question about the decks and patios. And after that, I'll speak a little bit about the site related work and some of the issues that Jeremy had mentioned earlier about EPC, floodplains, wetlands, et cetera.
Thank you.
Chris, and if I can share my screen, I'll bring the site plan up.
Sure.
That's a Fred. I think Fred allows you to share, right? There you go. There you go.
Wrong one, wait a second. Let's
Yeah,
bring this one up.
As your
There we
team presents, just focus on the grading and any special permit issues like noise, odors, traffic, parking. Just make sure those are covered. I know the ARB covered all the architectural features. We don't need to hash over that again tonight.
Yeah, we're land use, man.
Okay, so in that, if that being the case, I'll only offer a clarification on the deck question, and then I'll just hand it back to Brian, which is absolutely fine. So all of the terraces, as Jeremy explained, are on the kind of the northwest corner of the existing clubhouse in the back there, and they will all be masonry terraces. Even the upper deck, which is as Jeremy said, an expansion, but within the existing footprint of the building in totality, but it is an expansion of the upper level, and we're calling it the Sunset Deck, and that may be where the word deck came in, but it will all be masonry terrace. There are no wood decks anyplace. But other than that, it's exactly what has Jeremy explained. It's a series of tiered terraces, roughly 2 feet in elevation change, coming out of the back of the clubhouse, stepping down again, and then finally stepping down to the lower level. And it's to optimize the use as, outdoor dining has become more popular, take better advantage of the views to the golf course, and just add to the experience of the membership. That's really it from a programming and architecture perspective, and I'll hand it back to Brian.
Okay, thanks, Chris. So what I'd like to focus on really briefly is just the site-related work that we're proposing out here. I'm just tracing around the limit of disturbance, which, as you can see, is relatively confined around the 2 faces of the building here. They are reconfiguring some of the cart paths here and walkways along here, new stairwells, staircases, etc. What we have done is shown grading just on this side downhill of the new terracing here with a moderate amount of fill here. It's up to 5 or 6 feet in its deepest portion, but it works out well because what we've done is, in order to accommodate the provisions of section 880, the stormwater section, we have proposed an infiltration system to satisfy the requirements. We did get comments from DPW, which we responded to and sent over to staff today. In essence, they had many of their comments required no action, but in essence, they had 3 primary components. One was regarding drainage, which we have provided in accordance with Section 880. We will be following up with some additional soil testing within the envelope of the proposed infiltrators at DPW's request. One was the floodplain, and I will just point out that this part of the large Woodway campus is within the floodplain of the Noroton River, which is running right here. This is both sides of the Noroton River. This dash line right here is the floodplain in this area of the site. It ranges from elevation 102 to 103 in this area here. And as you can see, all of the site disturbance and proposed construction is well removed from any part of the floodplain. We are not proposing to encroach in it as part of this construction. We are not proposing to deplete any of the floodplain storage that exists on the site. One other comment that DPW had was regarding regulated areas, EPC regulated areas. And I did speak with your staff earlier today with Fred, and he indicated that he was out to the site with Rich Jacobson, director of the EPC, yesterday. And Rich correctly pointed out that we were showing a 50-foot setback to the Noroton River, whereas it should be a 100, and he was correct. So we have this drawing that you see on the screen is a revision issued today, showing the 100-foot setback. Here it is here. It is this line tracing through. And as you can see, we did make one change in the stormwater management system. There had been an overflow drain down here on the hill that was outside of the 50-foot setback that we have brought back to a level spreader to confine all of this stormwater activity outside of the 100-foot setback to the river. We do, as Jeremy mentioned, we do have some incidental grading that is within the 100-foot setback here and here. These are landscape steps here. The treads will be lawn with just stone on edge risers. I did confirm, I have been in touch with Rich Jacobson this afternoon, and I did indeed confirm that he will entertain this as an agent review approval at next week's EPC meeting on the 4th. And so we anticipate a favorable outcome there. And that's really the gist of the site work that's being proposed out here. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have on it.
Brian, can you talk a little bit about the addition to the clubhouse?
Well, I think Chris is probably better equipped to do so. I defer to him. I can navigate.
Yeah, Brian, can you zoom in a bit?
Sure.
This is Chris McCagg again, of Rogers McCagg. So, Brian, I'll try and walk you through it. So the where your cursor is now, if you go up a bit to the Noroton porch. So this is an existing porch. It's a covered porch. We are keeping the footprint. We are raising the elevation of it so that the new elevation is at the same elevation as the clubhouse. And that's meant so to make it a continuation, the idea of indoor-outdoor to the clubhouse, and also to ease the transition between these different terraces. So from that terrace, we step down to what's called the main terrace. That terrace also exists, but we're also raising it. So we're kind of rebuilding it or keeping the outer walls and lifting it. So that will be 2 feet lower from the Noroton porch. Then you'll walk to your left, and there's a set of stairs, and you'll go down another level, 2 feet, to what we're calling the 19th hole terrace. And this terrace will be the larger of all three terraces, and we'll have a bar and outdoor eating. Part of this is these darker gray rectangles are hard roof and awning, cover, protect. So it's a protected, partially protected. There will be fire pits out there and seating, a variety of seating. And then you see two staircases that kind of cross one another. The one that comes up is to the sunset deck. And that's what I was referring to earlier. That comes up to back up to the elevation of the clubhouse and the adjacent dining rooms. One's called named the Willie Parks room, and the other is the tap room. And they are adjacent to this corner that, in effect, that we're filling in. And both of those rooms will have access to this. And it looks, the 10th tee is off to your left there in the light in the upper right left corner. And the sunset back there, that's west. So that's therefore the naming of the sunset deck. Then if you go back down those stairs, back onto the 19th terrace, you'll see another small set of stairs with a down. That takes you down to the locker room level of the clubhouse. And that's really just access for golfers or members to head back down to the men's and women's locker rooms on the lower level. And part of the functionality of all of this is, as I said earlier, to connect the dining experience in the clubhouse to the golf course. But also the 9th green is back up the top off the top of your page on the other side of the Noroton River there. And so this becomes the turn. So you come up this path, the 9th, you pull over in this little loop off the side of the terrace here. You run up, catch your drink or your hot dog, and then head back out to the 10th and off to the back 9. So there's, we're addressing a bunch of those things that currently don't work well. But really it's adding an amenity that to bring Woodway more to the standard of their competing clubs in terms of outdoor dining and the experience that a lot of other clubs are offering, especially post-pandemic, because everyone discovered the outdoors again, I'll say. So there's a real push for more outdoor dining and connectivity to the outside. So the addition, in effect, is this night, we're not increasing the footprint of the Noroton porch or the main terrace. So the addition is this 19th hole terrace, that sunset deck, and some minimal landscaping. You can see that step where two paths come into it. That takes you down to that lower level, and that's their landscape steps to either side of that staircase. So that. Oh, and then one other thing. I'm sorry. Down to the lower portion of your screen, there's a Y-shaped stair. Currently, there's a stair that wraps around this curved terrace off of the club's banquet room. That is failing. So as part of this project, just a matter of due diligence or practicality, we're rebuilding that stair, and we reconfigured it to better fit with more common circulation from members and from guests. So that's a new staircase. And it has the reason it's shaped the way it is because it's kind of a plateau, creates a plateau for photographs if there's a large function going on, for wedding photographs, with the T and the sunset in the background. So that's how it ended up in that configuration. But I think that essentially, and then obviously there are some cart path modifications and footpath modifications. But other than that pretty much summarizes what we're trying to do.
Okay. Great. Brian, how much are you bringing any fill in or taking any fill away for the regrading portion of this whole thing?
We're going to try. We haven't done a detailed calculation on the estimate, Mr. Chairman, but we are trying to keep as balanced a site as possible.
Yeah, you're just moving dirt around to create paths staircases.
Correct.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. I'm cool. Are you all done with your presentation, sir?
We are.
Fantastic. Okay, let me open it up to the commissioners and see if they have any questions. Do any commissioners have any questions on this application? George Riley saying no.
I'm
Jim
good.
Rand, no.
Jennifer Leahy's good.
Jennifer Leahy's good, and that's all four of us because we do not have.
Rand and Larry Warble's saying okay.
What was saying,
So ready for the public.
Okay. Did anybody in the general public domain like to speak to this application? And Fred, can you check the chat box and all that stuff?
I don't see anyone.
Yeah, we have no one, Steve.
Hey, Brian, I don't think anybody has any questions.
Okay.
It's all at the back of the house. And I've been to Woodway plenty of times. I didn't know that one deck was there in the Noroton porch because I've always been inside the Willie room or the tap room or the other room. But I guess you got a porch back there. Have fun with your tables. I guess with that being said, if there's no more questions from anybody, I would entertain a motion to close this public hearing. I think Larry Warble just made the motion.
There you go.
Yep. And
Jim
I think
Rand
Jim Rand made. Jen said aye. All those in favor?
Aye.
There we go.
Right.
There you go, Brian. You're all set. What did
Thank you.
we
To deliberate tonight and decide it September 7th.
Fantastic. All right.
Thank
Hear
you.
that?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Great presentation. Thanks, folks.
Thanks.
All right. Item on the agenda. Amendment to special permit application number 117 F and Frank site plan, Noroton Presbyterian Church, 2011 Boston Post Road. Proposed to construct a wood deck adjacent to the recently constructed sports court and perform related site development activities. The 8.96 plus minus acres subject property is located on the north side of Boston Post Road at the northwest corner, formed by its intersection with Noroton Avenue. Is shown on assessors map number 43 as lot 3, 4, and 5 in the R1/3 zone. Jeremy, what do we got?
Sure, this is basically an amendment to the prior special permit for the sport court, which was recently completed, which is adjacent to the building they call the Shack for Noroton Presbyterian. And this is right behind the 23 Noroton Avenue rectory that they're now starting construction on. This is a proposed 34 by 22 wood deck directly adjacent to the sport court, which will allow for spectators, visitors, just people that watch the game and kind of be out of the way. Because this is so close to the shack, there's really limited viewing area both in front of the shack and in front of the garage. So this creates a level area to put a chair, watch the game. Whatever limits or restrictions that the commission previously put on the sport court are still in full force in effect. That would be the prior special permit 117F. All those conditions are in full force in effect and aren't going to change. David Lee from Noroton Presbyterian Church is here to mention, David, correct, no change in membership or activities of the church or anything like that. This is simply a deck.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. So they're putting a deck that's adjacent to the house that's there, right? That's a
No, it's adjacent to the sport court.
No, this thing's attached to this thing.
Yes, the shack, that's the shack.
That's because the shack.
S-H-A-C.
Okay, I'm sorry.
S-H-A-C.
S-H-A-C-K.
Student Activity Center,
Okay.
basically.
So you're just putting a deck on this building overlooking, it's gonna be raised above ground, right? Because there's already a deck up there now. My only question, what do we decide on the lighting on this?
No lights.
Okay,
No lights, and there's no lights on the deck, correct, Mr. Lee?
Yes, there's no light at that.
We also have Mr. Brian McMahon here from Redness and Mead, who is representing the applicant tonight. So, Brian, if you have anything to add to this discussion, please let us know.
I will. I'll just, if you don't mind, Fred, I'll just share my screen again. And so here is the deck in question, the proposed deck in question with the sport court here. And generally speaking, the topography runs from east to the west. What the proposal entails is not only construction of the deck, but removal of a significant portion of this asphalt driveway, in part to offset the effects of on runoff from the deck. And the result is that you've got a greater vegetated area here. The deck starts out flush on this side, on the east side, and is slightly elevated on the west side. It is proposed to install a 6-inch thick layer of crushed stone beneath the deck. And actually there is a proposed concrete curb on the side between the existing building and the southeast corner of the deck. And the purpose of that curb, and maybe here it is right here. The purpose of this curve, you can see the detail, is that the surface of the sport court will come down and give it a level area for water that is running off to the west. And instead of running onto the deck, we are proposing to have it run over the curb and down into the crushed stone bed beneath the deck, which is pitched, of course, down to the east. And in the end, the short of it is that we think we have proposed something here that is not only managing runoff and keeping the rate of runoff at or below pre-construction levels, but also providing a valuable filtration measure for runoff before it reaches the wetland corridor. And we did, DPW did issue just a few comments, 3, and it was all, I believe, favorable towards the plan and the application.
okay. That makes sense because you're now underneath it's going to be pervious surface, right? So the water can go through
Correct.
the deck and then into your crushed stone underneath it and still be pervious.
That's correct.
So are you actually making it more pervious surface?
I think it's slightly the net effect. Remember, we are removing this asphalt here, but we're constructing the deck. It's a slight benefit.
Cool.
In impervious surface.
Okay, so we're not doing any major site work and there's no major grading. You're just building a deck above it.
Correct.
Correct. there's no plan to change the grades out there.
Okay.
One thing I'll mention, I mentioned it earlier, the commission's approval and special permit 117F in October 2020 limited the hours of use for the sport court, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., March 1 to October 31, and 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., November 1 to the last day in February. And a sign shall be put up in or outside of the shack noting the permitted hours of use. So that's still in full force and effect, Mr. Lee.
Yes, that's correct. The sign I posted since we, get it once since you approved, so sign still there. We never changed it. Yeah.
Great, that's good.
Yeah, we just don't, I know there's hours on that. I just don't want people complaining, saying, oh, they're playing basketball till midnight. That's all.
Right, so this will have no new lighting for the deck.
Okay.
No.
Is there any lighting on that existing deck or going to be attached to the house or the building, the shack? Is there a door? How do you get into the deck? I don't see that.
You can, it's at grade.
Okay. Got it. Okay. It's at the green with the basketball court. Flush with the
Yes.
concrete. Understood. Okay. Okay, got it. Do any commissioners have any questions relative to this application? Jim Rand? Jim Rand has one question, or you're good? Your microphone's muted, sir. There we
Okay,
go.
now I'm connected, right?
Yep, you're connected.
Yeah, okay, my question relates to the deck. It says it's wood. Is it, as a layman, do the boards have spaces in between so that any moisture can go through the deck and into the crushed stone? Or is it, in a manner of speaking, watertight?
No, it's not watertight. It's a conventional deck. There will be normal spacing in the boards that you might see on any similar deck. I will call your attention, though, again, to this detail here. So the effect of the sport court is, and you can see this is a wider gap here.
There you
And the intent is to have water from the sport court to flow over the curb and immediately under the deck into the crushed stone bed there. But otherwise, the deck boards themselves will have standard spacing in between. It's not intended to be a tight surface impermeable to water.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So those boards are like 5/4 by 6s or something like that?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's probably going to be that fake plastic, not real wood stuff anymore.
It could be a composite deck, yeah.
Got it. Okay. Any other commissioner have any questions on this application? George Riley, you're okay? Larry Ward was okay? And Jen, you're okay, right? Larry's got a thumbs up. Perfect. Did anybody in the general public like to speak to this application? And Fred, if you could just check the chat box and all that good stuff.
We have no one, Steve.
Fantastic. Okay. And George, just give me a thumbs up. Perfect. Okay. With that said, did we miss anything? You're all done, Brian?
I am.
Mr. Lee, you're all done?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
And Fred, you took care of this one? We're all good?
We're all good.
Okay. With that said, I would entertain a motion to close this hearing. I think George Riley made the motion and Jim Rand made it.
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Jen. Okay, motion closed.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Brian. Are we
Well,
at today too?
Deliberate tonight, decide it in September.
Fantastic. All right, next item up for bid. Land filling and regrading application number 507, Cynthia Heck at 57 Greenleaf Avenue, proposing to fill and grade the property in conjunction with installation of a pool house, and stormwater management system, and to perform related site development activities. The 1.0 acre plus or minus acre subject property is located on the north side of Greenleaf Avenue, approximately 600 feet west of its intersection with Waterbury Lane, and is shown on assessors map number 28 as lot 3 in the R1 zone. Jeremy, what do we got?
This is an application for regrading the existing backyard is gently sloping, and the permit application is for a pool and a pool house and some regrading to level everything off. The applicant went to the Environmental Protection Commission as part of EPC 22-21, and that was approved on June 2nd, 2021. Darren Ostafine of Public Works sent in a memo dated July 21 with his comments on drainage. And in response to that, Doug DeVesta submitted some revised plans addressing those concerns of Mr. Ostafine. In addition, we forwarded to the commission Mr. Keating's comments on pool houses and cabanas and what distinguishes them from apartments. So Mr. Keating's memo is dated July 26th, which talks about conditions that are usually placed on pool houses to assure that they don't have cooking facilities and they don't become apartments.
The cook is not inside.
Correct. So I believe Doug DeVesta is here to present the application, talk a little bit about the regrading, the retaining walls, the drainage that's part of the project.
And before you get started, Judge Tog, I just want for the record, Mr. Heck is an old family friend of my sisters, both Kathy and Amory. And I've known Randy for a few years now. But I think I can see this application with a non-biased light. Any objection? Thank you. All right, Doug DeVesta, the floor is yours, sir.
Fred, can I have the screen, please, Fred? Okay, good evening. Doug DeVesta, professional engineer, represents the applicant. Tonight with me as our project team would be Allison Eckerson from Eckerson Design, Ken Epley from EIR, contractor, and then William Seymour did the survey work. And as you know, Randy Heck is also on the call tonight. What you see on your screen now is the existing conditions survey with the proposed pool house and pool and the retaining walls. Greenleaf Avenue is to the south here, and to the north is where the pool is going to go. It's located on the north side of the property. It's an R1 zone. Here's an overall view of the property. You got Waterbury Lane, and then Windsor Road, and then here in blue is the property we're looking at. That's 57 Greenleaf Avenue. The existing house was constructed in 1921, and renovations were completed in 2003, according to the assessor's card. And as what Jeremy talked about is that we were before the Inland Wetlands Commission. There's a little bit of wetlands along the westerly portion of the site that we had to go for EPC. The red line is the 50-foot upland review area, so you can see some of our grading and our drainage was within that area. And we did receive approval court back in June of this year. The project for you tonight is to construct a pool house, pool, the spa, pool terraces, some retaining walls to level off the area and the back as well, and provide stormwater management systems for the increased impervious areas. The retaining walls, again, to level off the area because the property slopes from the west to the east. So therefore, we're leveling it off with that. I'll have Alice go through her landscape architect plans. It has a profile of what we're proposing at the end here. The existing house is connected to the sanitary sewer and the water that's in Greenleaf Avenue. The proposed pool house will be connected to the municipal water. The sanitary sewer will come from the proposed pool house into the main house and then back into the sanitary sewer. In terms of erosion control, we're going to have silk fence, which is the orange here, located down gradient of all grading that's going on. And the stormwater management system was designed to handle the 2, 10, 25, and 50-year design storms according to the planning and zoning manual or regulations. We did receive comments from Darren. Items 1 through 7 were basically they're accurate descriptions of the proposed project. Item 8, he asked us to move the drainage systems behind the building setback lines. In majority, this dashed line where my cursor is the setback line. You see majority is it behind the line, and the same thing. If you project this line back, we're behind it, except for again, they have a retaining wall here, so there's no issues water going uphill to the neighbors to the north of us. So everything will be flowing down towards the wetlands and towards that water course that's along the property. Darren asked about the fill out the connected and disconnected form that he's got from the state DEP, which was submitted. And also, he asked that we provide an as-built of any buried utilities and structures. Provide as-built, and I added I added a note here asking that that the drainage and other underground utilities be located and provided an as-built. That's really the overall project. I'd like to have Allison talk about her landscape plan, which I can bring up. Where to go?
You want to show the section first? Yes, great.
Sure.
Right. So this is the section right through the middle of the pool house. Oh, for the record, Alice Eckerson Design Associates, licensed landscape architect. This is the section right through the pool and the pool house, and the existing contours are very light, but Doug, you might be able to point them out. That the site is sloping gently from the left to the right, and we tried to stick with the existing grades as much as possible for the elevation of the pool house and the pool, and then we're filling a little bit on the right hand. And you can see the existing grade, proposed grade. They wanted a little level area with it right around the pool, and then they also wanted us to try to get back to the existing grade as quickly as possible to limit the disturbance on the downhill side of the property. So that's one of the reasons for the wall being in that location. And it also is going to serve as part of the pool enclosure, the safety enclosure, where it's 4 feet high. Doug, could you move to maybe the last drawing? Yeah. This one shows the area, the planted areas, and there's the pool enclosure fencing is going from the sides of the pool house and wrapping around the pool area. And we've got some flowering trees and areas of ground covers and shrubs within the pool area. And then right below that wall, you can see there's some flowering shrubs and ground covers and grasses. And then around the edges of the property on the east side, there's the wetland area. And so we're proposing to remove the vines and invasives and replant with native trees and shrubs and ground covers. And then on the opposite side, on the west side, we're proposing some screening to give the Heck some privacy, but then also limit the view of the neighbors into the back of the pool house. I think that's all. I'll turn over to Kent.
I have a couple quick questions, either it's Doug or somebody.
Sure.
Where's the pool equipment? I saw the propane tank.
Right on the lower side of the retaining wall.
Oh, yeah. And then
Okay.
the pool equipment.
Right here.
No, it's down.
Pool equipment
Kent
down.
Epley from ERI building. The pool equipment's down below the wall.
Oh, here it's right here. Yeah, here it is.
Yeah.
Got it. And then, is there going to be an outdoor kitchen someplace?
No.
There's no gas kitchen, so the propane tank is just to heat the pool in the spa?
For now, I mean, there may be a grill, but no planned like outdoor kitchen area per se.
Go ahead, Ken. I don't mean to interrupt. Apologize.
Okay.
Yep.
Kent, You want to? These are just the elevations. You want to see the floor plan, Steve?
Sure, please.
Ken, you want to go over this? Want to go over the floor plan, Ken?
Yeah, so just to address the concerns of Dave Keating's letter with the bedroom space in there, and Randy can jump in here too, but the plan is not for this to be any kind of facility that has a full kitchen or that even people stay in for any length of time. Randy has, I believe, 6 bedrooms in the house now. And this is just for overflow for a very limited period of time, if needed.
So in the kitchen, it says kitchen on your floor plan. So what do we have inside the kitchen? Just a sink?
Well, there's no heating appliance, I guess, is the key part to making it a like what would be a habitable dwelling where you could cook. There's no cooking facility in there. So, I mean, there's a sink and there's a fridge and that type of thing, but no cooking appliance.
Okay. You have a beverage, so you might have a dishwasher to wash glasses and whatnot.
Right, right. Your basic pool stuff, drinks and cocktails, whatever.
My brother's got one. He's got a fridge. He's got a
Yeah.
kitchen sink. He's got a toaster.
Yeah. I mean, these rooms are very, very small in the back, and it's literally just, and Randy, if you want to jump in here, just literally, big family and hoping to be bigger, and just if they needed some overflow for a short period of time.
Yes. Agreed.
It sounds like it sounds sort of like Thanksgiving weekend.
Exactly. Christmas, Thanksgiving, and anytime our kids with our future grandkids come up and visit.
Okay, so we talked about the pool equipment. Did one thing for Kent. What's the square footage of this thing? And it's 1 story with the crawl space underneath?
It's just the crawl space underneath. I don't have the exact math here, but essentially it's I believe it's 30 by 26.
780 square feet, Steve.
Got it. 70. That's
Footprint.
got it. Okay. What else? Footage I asked about that. Or outdoor. There's no real outdoor kitchen. Any special lighting on this on the building or overlooking the pool, whatnot?
There's uplighting on the trees that are within the pool area we're proposing, and maybe some little path lights if needed between the driveway and the pool.
Okay. Things on the internet now. Okay, I'm pretty good. Any you
No issues.
okay. Do any commissioners have any questions with this application? Jim Rand's okay. George Riley, give me a thumbs up. Larry Warble's okay. And Jen, you okay? Yep.
Okay, I'm okay.
Fantastic. Anybody in the general public like to speak to this application? Fred, anybody in the chat box and that kind of stuff?
Nope, we don't have anyone, Steve.
Okay, fantastic. So the record, at this point in time, there is no building code in town called ADU. It's called accessory dwelling units. That may change someday in the future. You don't. You could possibly put in a real kitchen or heat elements, but that's not at this point in time. That said, we're good. We're looking to close the hearing. I would entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close.
Jen made the motion, Larry made the second. All in favor? Fantastic. Looking at this one.
Same thing, decision in September.
Okay, great. Well, we might deliberate this tonight, make a decision in September. But thank you, everybody, for your application.
Thank you, Steve. Good night now.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda is a land filling and regrading application number 509, William and Courtney Reidy at 43 Hillside Avenue. Proposal to regrade, construct regrade the yard, construct a series of terraces, patios, install a boulder retaining wall, and to perform related site development activities. The 0.38 plus or minus acres subject property is located on the west side of Hillside Avenue at the northwest corner, formed by its intersection with Anthony Lane. It is shown on Assessor's Map number 47 as Lot 66 in the R1/3 zone. Jeremy, what do we got?
Sure, the legal notice is self-explanatory. It's a sloping yard at the corner of Hillside and Anthony Lane. And the goal here is to create some terraces, patios, regrade the yard to create a flat area. As part of that, they'll be moving the existing underground propane tank and putting the new propane tank underground, putting in some drainage to accommodate the terraces and patio. There's going to be some tree removal along the north and west property lines and new landscaping put in. Darren Ostafine from Public Works sent a memo dated July 6th, and Abigail Adams of A2 Land Consulting sent in a response memo and revised plans, which you have in your packets. And Mr. Ostafine last Thursday said, based on his comments, number 8 was the only issue which required a response, and the perk test holes are favorable, and the system's been redesigned. So he was satisfied with the response from Ms. Adams. So here to present is Ms. Adams, as well as the property owner, Bill Reidy is here as well.
Welcome, everybody. Who's going to present? Is it Abigail or Mr. Reidy?
Yes.
Abigail, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Thank you. For the record, Abigail Adams, licensed landscape architect, owner A2 Land Consulting out of New Fairfield, Connecticut. Thank you. I am going to share my screen if that's okay.
That's great. You had a very professional application, I will tell you. I like the cover page.
Thank you. Okay. Let's see. I haven't shared in GoTo yet, so let's see if I can figure this out.
There you go. Good.
You got it. We can see your screen.
I did it? Oh, fabulous. Fabulous. Okay. Just briefly, there's a little bit of an introduction about the property already. We're located on Hillside Avenue with Anthony Lane to the south. There's a single family dwelling on the property. The site is served by water and sewer, and there's no proposed changes to either of those utilities. Let's see. Right now, there's a high point on the southwest corner of the site right here, with the majority of the site sloping to the north and to the northwest. This makes the property slightly unusable in terms of playing ball or doing anything out there like that. So what we are proposing first and foremost is to remove a very small deck that's located off of the back of the house. I'm going to back up a little bit. As you can see, the driveway comes off Anthony Lane here to the garage, which is actually the back of the house. The front of the house is facing Hillside Avenue. So that's slightly unusual in that part of that driveway is taking up some of the usable space for the backyard. Another reason that we are looking to do some regrading here in the backyard. But again, looking to remove this existing deck, some of the tree removal that Jeremy was discussing. We've got 3 existing evergreens that we're going to try and relocate. And what we are proposing here is to replace the existing deck here. We would do a level raised terrace off of that dining room area here. There's 2 doors here, French doors here, a dining table, some outdoor living seating, a small barbecue here, no large outdoor kitchen space. Then we would have a couple steps down to a smaller courtyard area here with a small stone masonry wall that creates a visual and physical separation between the driveway and this courtyard here. And this is an existing porch that would remain. We'd likely add a step here and just rework that a little bit. This would be level, again, a couple steps down from this terrace. Then from this terrace here, we would have a few more steps down to a lower fire pit patio that's on grade with the lawn down in this location. So moving on to the grading plan, just a couple of different spot elevations here. You can see what's happening. We're taking this 105 contour, pulling that back, and then we're stretching the 104 all the way across the backyard. In order to accomplish that, we're going to install a relatively small boulder slope. We don't want to do a large masonry wall. It doesn't make sense for the cost. We're going to do boulders here to retain that grade. We are backing that boulder slope off of the property line because we do have some tree removal and we don't want that wall to be compromised in the future. So we're backing that off a little bit, and that's going to allow some room for plantings on the lower side adjacent to the neighboring properties. There's the landscape plan. We're going to be adding back ornamental plantings along the property line, nice curved edge here, softening the edge of that lawn, the boulder slope, and then these are all the plantings along the backside, perennials, some native Shenandoah switchgrass there, and a low bearberry ground cover here, and then we would put some understory evergreen plantings along this property line to supplement some of the evergreens that are running along this property line on the neighboring side. In terms of the drainage, I have a quick little blurb from Cabezas De Angelis, our engineers on the property. The impervious surface will be increased plus or minus 1,260 square feet from the existing conditions. Therefore, a new underground stormwater infiltration system will be installed in order to retain the additional discharge of stormwater from the site. A drainage report dated May 25th, 2021 was prepared by Cabezas De Angelis Engineering and Surveying to determine stormwater impacts that can be expected to occur as a result of the proposed development. The results of this study show that although impervious surfaces will be increased from the existing conditions, post-construction stormwater runoff rates and total runoff volumes will be reduced due to the inclusion of the new underground stormwater retention system. That system consists of 4 Caltech R280 HD chambers and will be located in the northwest corner of the property. You can see that right over here. It will capture runoff from the impervious patios via several box drains located around the patio. A deep test pit was excavated in the vicinity of the system, and the results were favorable for stormwater infiltration. In addition to reducing flow rates and volumes to less than pre-developed levels, the system has been sized to capture and treat the required water quality volume, which will improve the quality of stormwater discharge. Therefore, it is concluded that the project will not have any adverse impacts to any adjacent properties, the Noroton River, or to any town-owned drainage facilities. Currently, there is some roof drains that are daylight, and there's a little pipe right in this corner. So that's what's happening now. Those are going to be picked up and added to the system, so we won't have any smaller pipes daylighting and draining towards the neighbor's property. It was mentioned that we will be relocating the existing underground propane, which is in this vicinity. In order to accomplish all of that work, we're going to just relocate that over to the edge of the lawn area by the plant beds. And that is the majority of the presentation, I think, unless there's some specific questions. And Bill Reidy is here, the owner of the property, in case there's any questions that he may be able to answer that I might not.
No, it sounds like a standard application for a kid that's got, for a fellow that's got a son that plays soccer, or daughters that plays soccer and lacrosse. The question that I have, how much fill are we bringing in? And I think you're raising the land like 2 feet, is that right?
I do have that. We have 72 cubic yards of fill, essentially.
72 cubic yards, that's one truck, isn't it?
4 trucks.
4 trucks, okay. You're raising it from, basically from 102 up to 104, 105, something like that?
That's correct. Let me pop back to that grading plan. So if you can see, here's the 105 contour that wraps around here. What we're going to do is we're going to just pull this part of 105 back. So there's a little bit of excavation there. And then the 104 contour is all pushing out this way. So basically, we're sort of, the 104s landing where we had 101.5 or 101, essentially.
Okay. So that rock wall or the boulders, that's the difference between that and the property line is going to be maybe 3 feet?
It's 3.5, pushing 4 right at this corner here, but that's the max.
Got it.
And
Okay.
we sort of level out with the existing grade and we run into grade over here. And then we're a little higher here, a couple steps down, and then run into grade.
I bet you nickel a couple soccer balls be down in that hole.
I'm sure on occasion.
For sure. Okay, it looks pretty straightforward. My only, I guess, one question I do have, why, I mean, you can put the new propane tank wherever you want it. Why'd you make it so far away from the house? Don't you have to run a line that far? That looks, it's pretty far, no? Is that just the best spot for it?
I was trying to keep it out. I don't want the propane really in the middle of the lawn. I'm trying to get it away from all of this, keeping the lawn open so you don't have the cover of the propane tank in the middle of the lawn. I also didn't necessarily want it over by the driveway. We may look at shifting that around, but it could potentially go over here as well.
Yeah, because when the guy comes to fill the propane tank, he's got to run his hose a lot further.
Oh, well, that's not too far.
No, okay, that's fine. I'm good. It makes all good sense to me. Any commissioners have any questions on this application? Larry's saying no. Jim's okay. George, no. Jen, you good? Jen's always good. Okay. Would anybody in the general public like to speak to this application?
No one here.
Anybody in the chat box, Fred? Any emails or something like that?
Oh, we don't have anyone.
Fantastic. Looks like it's pretty straightforward. The guy's gonna have a bunch of athlete kids, and I think we're off to the races. Jeremy, did I forget anything?
Nope.
Fred, I didn't forget anything? With that said, I entertain a motion to close. That's Jim Rand just made the motion, and George Riley made the second. All in favor? There you go. Thanks, Jim.
Decision right after Labor Day.
Fantastic. Decision right after Labor Day.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Might have it in by the hockey season.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, now the public hearing is closed. We're going to go into the general meeting. Tonight we have possible deliberations and possible decisions on a couple, 3 applications. Generally, we have some draft items. The first one we have is coastal site plan review number 357, flood dam prevention application number 408, land filling and regrading application number 505, George and Kelly Whitridge at 29 Tokenique Trail. This is the removal of the house and tennis courts to build a new house. Is that right?
Right. This is a property that's entirely within the flood zone, and they are removing the non-conforming tennis court, which is too close to the setbacks. The house is existing non-conforming because it's too close to the road, and it doesn't meet the flood regulations. It was built way before flood regulations. So what the commission is going to do is approve a house that complies with the flood regulations, with flood vents, no basement. You may recall this is unique in that there's no garage, as George Riley pointed out during the hearing. One of the issues came up during the hearing about comments received by the state of Connecticut DEP. And as you can see in condition C, the commission is recommending to the applicant that they submit a letter of map revision, but not requiring it. I think that was George's comment as well. The rest of the draft resolution is straightforward. They need a zoning and building permit for the new foundation. They need a demolition permit. They need approval from the health department, Tokenique Association, and the commission's requiring as-built survey and elevation certificate.
And this one, they already got the sign off of the Tokenie Association for the new curb cut.
That's correct.
Because it's a second curb cut, or they're just moving it? I forget.
They're modifying one and creating a new one.
That's right. The one's gonna be, I think, a walkway now. Okay. Questions, comments to the draft, Scribner's errors, typos? I didn't really see any. Fred and Jeremy, look at these things 15 times before we go. And I think they were also sent out via email.
I don't remember if it was sent out by email, but I do know that we had to turn it around pretty quickly because the hearing closed July 13th.
Yep. Okay. Anybody catch anything on this one? George Rise, proofreader. Jim Rand's okay. George Rise, okay.
Jennifer?
Yeah, okay.
Jen's okay. Fantastic.
Okay, so
All right. With that said, I would entertain a motion to approve as submitted.
Motion to approve is submitted.
Jen makes the motion. George Riley gets the second. All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Six.
Jennifer, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, she made the motion.
Great,
Fantastic. 5-0. Great.
yes.
Fantastic. All right, next item up. Special permit application number 320, Jeffrey Brown, 26 Peach Hill Road. This is the special permit application to put the temporary dwelling on the property based upon the zoning that we just changed.
Correct. The commission adopted the zoning regulation amendment at your meeting last week. That takes effect on September 26th, which gave us time to put the legal notice of decision in the newspaper, file it with the town clerk, etc. So as you know, you cannot make this decision effective until after the zoning amendment goes into effect. So you can see here in the draft resolution you have before you, you have an effective date of Sunday, September 26th at 12:30 p.m., which is after the zoning regulation goes into effect.
Zoning goes on 12:01 p.m., right?
Correct. And this again gives staff time to prepare the legal notice, get the legal notice published in the paper, file it with the town clerk, etc. So the draft resolution's been prepared, and it basically, you may recall on the zoning regulation amendment, the new section 405H has a number of requirements to allow 2 houses on 1 lot temporarily. And in this draft resolution, those findings in terms of the size of the lot, the fact that no part of the lot is in the flood zone, the new dwelling complies with all the area and bulk requirements, etc. That after the existing residence is demolished, the new house will not exceed 20%. We have a design structure.
75%, yeah. You're reading number
Number 6 and number 7 are similar but different. We did acknowledge in the draft resolution the many comments received by the neighbor, Mr. Hardy, at number 22. I want to acknowledge that the shared driveway by Mr. Brown at number 26 is on Mr. Hardy's property and has a driveway easement. And that shared driveway will need to be used for the construction traffic. As I noted in item 14, this cannot go into effect till after the zoning amendments. Other than that, the requisite findings have been made.
Pretty straightforward.
Fred, do you have anything to add? I think it's straightforward once you make the findings, and that was the key. Is how did the zoning regulation amendment shake out? And the commission couldn't decide this till that was decided.
Correct. Can you just go over item E as in Edward at the very end, which talks about the COs and temporary COs and whatnot?
Right. You may recall that one of the conditions within the new zoning amendment was that certain things be done prior to a temporary CO and prior to a permanent CO. So condition E in the resolution says, in order to comply with section 405H, the existing dwelling shall have its kitchen and cooking facilities removed within 30 days after a temporary CO is issued by the Darien Building Department for the new dwelling being constructed on the property. The remainder of the existing residence shall be raised, demolished, prior to the issuance of a permanent CO for the new residence. And this is consistent with the wording in the zoning regulation amendment that was adopted by the commission.
Right, so with that said, at the end of the day, you don't get the CFO for the new house until the old dwelling, whatever, the old building is gone. Gone. Okay? Any questions, comments, typos, scrivener's errors on this one?
Nope.
Jen's okay. Jim, right? George, Jerry Warble give me a thumbs up. George Riley, give me a thumbs up. We got my legal counsel looking at this stuff. Fred, anything we missed, right? We're good? I didn't catch anything. It was kept short because what we really need to do is make the findings, and then E is the controlling factor on the building. So with that said, I would entertain a motion to approve this resolution as submitted. Larry made the motion. George makes the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Leahy, who said aye.
Yes, it is. And then just again, it doesn't go
5-0.
5-0. It doesn't go into effect until
After the regulations go into effect.
which is in the end of September. Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Jeremy. Next item. We have another. Oh, this is Compass, I think. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. Next item, special permit application number 321 Baywater, 1090 BRP LLC, Compass Real Estate, 1090 Boston Post Road. Excuse me. This is the temporary relocation of Compass Real Estate into a building that's vacant today, to go in there for a couple months. How do we deal with how long it can be temporary?
You know, it's funny you talk about that, Dave, Steve. We did talk about that in number 3.
Yep.
Acknowledging that this is just temporary. It's really once phase 1 is done. And we talked about that in condition D on page 4. And we should read through that and make sure you're comfortable with condition D.
Okay, I want to read condition. What is it? Permit structure. Okay, D, both right, temporary. 2 years. Issuance of temporary CMO for the first space for temporary permit for the state. Oh, I got that. Yeah, we did tie it. I remember that. Yes, it was not approved. 3 years. Okay.
Right, we had to, because.
I think at the time. There had to be a sunset somewhere with.
Right, and we have to acknowledge that while David Genovese was hoping to move Compass to 15 Corbin, the commission has not yet decided that. So from that standpoint, we had to say it's a temporary approval, temporary on one of 2 things happening.
Okay, one is expired 30 days after they get a TCO for 15 Corbin, which is good.
Correct.
3 years from today on this one. So 3 years from then I'll build phase 1. This guy's got to move out in 3 years. Everybody good with that?
Yep.
3 years. 3 years is actually a lease term. Okay, great. With that said, any questions, comments, typos, errors on this one? Rich Bradley looks okay. Jim Rand's okay. Larry's okay, and January said yes.
Yep.
Fantastic. All right. With that said, I'd entertain a motion to approve. Brand makes the motion, and Larry Wolf makes the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, John. 5-0. 5-0. Thank you, sir. I gotta get home for the game. Okay, that's good. Done. Next item on the agenda. That's it. We're good.
Now deliberations on the stuff that Fred and I couldn't get to, that we will plan on having draft resolutions on all of these September 7th. So let's go through them pretty quickly. They're pretty straightforward stuff.
Yeah, it's 9:45. We started late. The first one is special permit application number 264B as in boy, same site plan, Baywater 1025 BRP LLC, Krebs Choupé at 1025-1029 Boston Post Road. Proposed to establish a quick service restaurant with associated retail sales and outdoor dining at the existing space at 1025-1029 Boston Post Road, formerly occupied by Warm New York and prior to that Kirby and Company. This is the guy that's putting the French guy with the cart that sells crepes to people that go to Yale. Wants to put a permanent store here in Darien and stop driving his bicycle, I guess. The outdoor seating is just going to be tables. God bless you, George. The outdoor seating is just going to be two little tables in front of the store, like two tops. So it's not extensive seating. They had them there during the pandemic, height of the pandemic, or they overflowed from, I think, not Uncle's Deli, Sugar Bowl.
Yep.
Sugar Bowl overload. So that's all it is. Any questions, comments on this one? I think it's a fantastic idea. And it's right next door to Pliable, where Casey Warble hangs out. Gotta keep you on your toes. Everybody good with this one?
Like all the sugar there, actually.
My kid hangs out at Bar Vita. We got a million of those things at my house. Everyone good with this one?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll instruct staff.
September 7th.
Fantastic. The next one on our just special permit application number 302, A is in Apple, Baywater CFW LLC, Compass Real Estate at 15 Corbin Drive. Proposed to establish a real estate office within the new building to be constructed at 15 Corbin Drive, Building H on the approved site plan for the Corbin project. This is a real estate office, or going to be proposed to be a real estate office on a side street off the Post Road in the CBD Corbin sub area. There is a little clause inside the zoning code that said we have to be able to say that it makes sense to put it there. There is no, self-destruct clause about the retail finding that you have to find it. It's not
different standard.
It's a different standard. So we went over that ad nauseum last time when we discussed it. George Riley definitely pointed out the good items, and we found the exact code that we're looking for. I think it's a great location for it. It's on a side street. There's parking behind, and it may have a little bit of retail presence on the front, which brightens up the street. Any other questions, comments on this one? Everybody in favor? Anybody opposed to it? Looks all good. Jen, you good? Chad Leahy, you good?
Sorry.
Thank you. All right. Jim Rand's good. Larry's good. George's good. All right. Staff?
We'll drive something for September 7th.
Fantastic. All right. Moving right along. Next one, we did that. Okay. Any public hearings closed on July 27th, 2021? We're going to deliberate these things now.
Deliberate them now. We'll have them ready. Again, Fred and I will work over August to get all these draft resolutions done.
All right. Yes, on that first day back.
We're going to have potentially a dock application, and then there might be one other minor thing. We're going to see what applications come in.
So you get like 10 resolutions.
We'll have 6 resolutions.
Wow. All right. Okay. Let's go do the deliberations. The first one is going to be the special permit application number 34K, site plan land filling and regrading application number 510, Woodway Country Club at 450 Hoyt Road. Hoyt Street. They're going to build a deck on the outside of the building and regrade some of the driveways and landscaping and cart paths. Seems pretty straightforward to me. Any questions on this one? I think everyone thinks it's a great idea. More outdoor seating, and that's the other ones. We just did the same thing over at Country Club of Darien.
We did.
Okay, next item on here. Amendment of special permit application number 117, F as in Frank, site plan, Noroton Presbyterian Church, 2011 Boston Post Road. They're going to build a small deck that's got slots in between it, next to their existing basketball court. and take out some asphalt. Any issues with this one? Oh,
Oh,
right, good. Right up, instruct staff to draft a positive resolution on that one. The next one, land filling and regrading application number 507, Cynthia Heck at 57 Greenleaf Avenue. The Hecks are proposing to put in a pool, a spa, and a pool house with 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, some laundry space, a kitchen sink, a refrigerator, no cooktops, maybe a dishwasher. I bet you it's going to have a refrigerator for beer. And it looks like a nice little house. They got a big lot and a big space in the backyard. Makes sense to me. Any questions, comments on that one? George Riley, your light is on.
Well, I wonder if we need to, given the ADU issue, should we condition it on there shall not be any cooking equipment in this so-called kitchen?
Right.
And maybe even no one stays overnight more than, shall we say, Thanksgiving weekend 4 nights, something like that.
Yep.
What about if you commit at Christmas and you leave at New Year's?
You want to give them 14 days? Okay, yeah.
I'll give them 14 days.
It's gonna be a damn nice pool house. That's all I can say. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, what if they decide that they would like to make an ADU and like, I'm starting to wonder why we would create restrictions that we wouldn't create today because of something we're considering, even if we know
they can convert it to an ADU if we authorize ADUs in the future.
I mean, it's by definition, if it has a kitchen, it's an ADU. If it doesn't have a kitchen, it's not an ADU.
Right.
I mean, is someone supposed to go in from the town and check to see how many nights people are sleeping in bedrooms?
Not practical, but
don't see that as the town's business.
No, it's a good point. It's a good point.
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah. I mean, the definition of an ADU is if it has cooking facilities.
Correct.
Right. So you could technically have, your son that comes home from college and doesn't get a job living there. He just, he comes to the mother house for dinner every night.
Right, and that's fine, right?
Legit, yeah. Somebody can sleep above the garage.
Right.
Certainly.
Spend the summer there.
Yeah, spends the summer there.
Jim Rand.
Jim Rand. Yes, sir.
Okay, the ADU rules got adopted. And what do we do? I mean, let me ask the question a slightly different way. Do we require that they apply? Did a property owner apply to build an ADU, or does he have it? Does he have the approval by right?
That's what we have to decide. Right now, the way the state legislation is drafted, it's as of right. So they don't have to come to the Planning and Zoning Commission. They just have to go to the building department. If someone's going to put in this particular building, if it gets approved and built, if someone wants to put in a Viking stove 2 years down the road, they don't have to come to see us. If it's as of right, they definitely have to go to the building department. If the law that we draft or the regulation that we draft calls for a special permit, then we would look at it first. Then we would look at it, approve the special permit, and then we go to the building department. So it depends on how we eventually draft that. So to answer,
and how can we address George's point about the kitchen?
Because right now they're not allowed to have a cooktop in there. Okay, so before they get their C of O, the building department goes in there, and the building department and the plumber, they sign off on the plumbing, they sign off on the electrical, and when they're in there, whoever goes in there, if it's Pete Solheim or one of those guys, there's no stove in there.
Steve, right? May I add something?
Of course you can.
As part of the review of this application, we forwarded the floor plans of the Cabana Pool House to David Keating, the Assistant Director of P&Z, for his opinion, and he submitted a proposed condition on the occupancy of that pool house, which I believe we emailed to the commission as well. I can just read that condition very quickly. The Darien zoning regulations only allow one dwelling unit on a property in the residential zones. The existing main house is that allowed dwelling unit. The proposed cottage cabana will be used as a cabana adjacent to the swimming pool and as a guest bedrooms for family members and other guests when they come to visit on a short-term basis. The cottage cabana structure cannot have any cooking facilities of any sort, and it cannot be a dwelling unit. It cannot be lived in by anyone for more than a short period of time, 2 weeks during any 6-month time period. It is for your guests only. It cannot be used for any paying customers or clients or as a rental facility of any sort. It is not allowed to be a second dwelling unit on the property.
Okay, so that's the italic stuff in the back. He quoted that out of something, because I know we don't allow Airbnbs in town. So where is this thing come from?
That's his policy.
That's his
policy. That's the policy we've used on building permits
for years.
that even, don't go to the commission. There's lots of pool houses that have been built through the years that don't need P&Z approval because there's no grading.
Right.
And Dave approves them with those. Those are the typical conditions they get placed on pool houses.
Do you want to put this in the resolution?
Yes.
Okay. So then we'll put that, what Dave quoted as a zoning enforcement order, in the resolution. Does that make sense, everybody? Because this did come up in our hearing. This came up in our hearing with Mr. Heck and his applicant, and he knew about it. He talked about it.
Yes.
So to bolster George's point, and sorry, Larry, to reject my point and your point, it's in black and white already. 2 weeks.
Yeah, but if the ADU rules are written in such a way that the property owner has a right to do this without reference to planning and zoning, or if they're written in such a way that they have to come to planning and zoning, but planning and zoning can't turn them down. I mean, you can fiddle around the edges, but the guy it has to be approved. Then what's the point of all this language about?
Well, this is a moot point, because this goes away.
Right, Jim, that it will come down to what the commission does with accessory dwelling units between now and say next year at this time. It's got to make a lot of decisions, but at least this will hold for the time being. And then you're right, there's another decision to be made on accessory dwelling units. And if the commission does not opt out, this could become accessory as of right. Commission, if they don't opt out, you'll never know if the kitchen goes in there.
We'll know, but the building department will.
The building department would, but no one else would.
Correct. Right. And the last thing is just so it's on the table. Some of these accessory apartments inside houses and whatnot have, or maybe a bedroom, has like a tennis pro live there for the summer. Like Middlesex Club, every year they say, do you have a spare bedroom? And I got a 5-bedroom house or a 6-bedroom house, and the tennis pro lives there. So the tennis pro can't live in this thing for the 3 months of the summer.
That's correct.
Okay. There's your answer.
Did we then go and complicate this a little by saying that there shall be only one dwelling unit on a property, except as provided by, what was that, our new reg 405, is it, where you can have a second dwelling unit temporarily while there's one under construction?
No, I don't think we did, because in this case, this is going to be a permanent structure. And certainly we've acknowledged with the Brown situation that ADUs could change the whole dynamic, again, depending on what criteria the commission establishes.
Okay, good.
And I think this almost is an example of, how allowing the temporary building. I mean, let's say in theory that this family decided that they were going to tear down their existing home and decide to move into a 700 square foot pool house, right? They could have built the second house, still met all the setbacks and everything, and then just moved the kitchen from the main house to the pool house. And they would have never, and everything would have been fine from our perspective.
Yeah, on a temporary basis, right? Yeah, I agree.
Okay, well, something drafted for September. Thank you.
Okay,
Very good.
good. Next one, land filling regrading application number 509, William and Courtney Reidy at 43 Hillside. We have to talk about that one at all?
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think that's fine. The guy's flattened out his backyard so we can play soccer and lacrosse.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Great, fantastic. Okay, next item is chairman's report. What do I do? This is our last meeting of the year or summer. Our next meeting is going to be on September 7th. So after tonight, we will see you all, hopefully in person, but only virtually again after Labor Day. So enjoy your time off, and we'll go back from there. The other item that's on here is I don't know if it's an announcement or not announcement. This year is a municipal election year. The Democratic Town Committee and the Republican Town Committee put forth their slates. I am pleased to announce, I guess, that Jennifer Leahy is not running for re-election this year. She's is that a cheer?
She's not running well.
She is been on the commission for at least 4 years, maybe 8 years. I actually forget.
Sometimes it feels that way.
Exactly. And she's moving on to bigger and better things and will not be a commissioner after November 2nd, whatever it is. But I want to officially, before we go too far, Jennifer, thank you for all your time and insight on being on the commission.
Cool.
You're a great asset. I really appreciate it. It's always good to have a realtor, that's for sure.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Welcome. Jim Rand and I, on the Republican side of the table, were renominated by our respective town committees. So Jim Rand and I will likely be campaigning after the summer. So Jim and I, we're going to come back and hopefully we get reelected. My wife, I tell you, was going to vote against me though. What else? There was something else I we want to talk about now. No, I think we're good with that. So that's really the only thing I wanted to mention tonight. Next item on the agenda, discussion of parking for multifamily housing and opt-out procedures, ADUs and marijuana. We talked about this last time.
Yeah, we talked, there's nothing new to report on this. We're keeping these moving along, but.
Okay, good. Approval of minutes. We have a minutes from July 13th to go over.
June 13th, oh, July, right.
July 13th. I got it right this time. We can go over those real quick and then we can, I think, wrap it up. The first one, the item on here was the new dog park, so to speak, over at the old senior center. We have a land refilling grading application on Tokenie Trail. We talked about that one. Some items on federal where federal want us to change their plaza easements so they can have outdoor seating. That was a general meeting item that we approved. Then we have a zoning resolution with regards to a house on Swift's Lane. We can't touch that. That's fine. We have another zoning resolution on the house on Pratt Island that Mr. Maslin put forth, or Attorney Maslin put forth. Can't touch that. That's fine. And after that, we have the where we changed some zoning codes. We went from 12% to 14% in a bunch of spots. That's the new zoning codes that we did. So we can't touch that. That goes into effect in October. We have another resolution from Town Hall. What's this one for? Well, that was the other parking standards. Yep, that's the parking standard. We can't touch that. Right. The next one we have is the change in the minimum, still parking. Then I think we have the off-street parking that's done. Then we have another one, which is the last item is on the proposed amendment to the zoning regulations for the 26 Peach Hill application. Chairman's report. We talked about that. Marina through site plan. Yeah, completion. Brooks Brothers. I think that's it. Any questions, comments, typos, scrivener's errors in this one? Good. Thank you, Fred and Jeremy, for putting this together. I would enter a motion to approve as submitted. George Riley made the motion. Jim Rand made the second. Larry made the third. All those in favor? Jen say aye. Jen said aye.
Jen's abstaining. She wasn't.
I watched the tape on this.
She watched the tape.
Oh, great. So it's 5-0. Thank you, Jen.
5-0. All right. Any other business requires 2/3 vote of the commission? I don't see any other business on the table. No business, right? Okay. Our next meeting is going to be September 7th, which is after Labor Day. And after that, we have September 14th, which is a week later. That's it, folks. Trying to get this done. And
Larry, you want to make a motion to adjourn?
Does Larry?
Whoever.
We're looking for a motion to adjourn from Larry Warble.
I will make the motion to adjourn.
Fantastic. Looking for a second. George Ryan just waving his hands. Crazy. All right, all's in favor. Jen, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
All right. Enjoy August, gang.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Kind of look different. See you, folks.